Alright, this is the DEERC. It's the YK080 radio-controlled speedboat. So I was sent this to review for free. If you wanted to purchase it, I've seen an MSRP as high as $70, but I've seen it also listed with coupons that make the actual price on the street about $45. So I suspect $45 is what you should be paying for this guy. They haven't paid me for my review, and my opinion remains viable. Alright, so in the box we have a styrofoam packaging that has the transmitter and the speedboat along with some accessories. They have this battery precautions card, which is probably precautions about overcharging and overheating batteries and so forth. They have the user's manual, and it has a couple of different languages in here, so it looks like the English language of the manual is only about 6 to 9 pages long. Looks pretty complete for a radio-controlled vehicle. It does look like it's going to require 3 AAA batteries for the transmitter that are not included. We have the boat here. It's relatively small and easy to hold in your hand. It has a propeller in the back here and a servo-controlled rudder. And then there's this guy here that looks like it's the lock-unlock mechanism to get access to the battery compartment. So, you can see here's the servo motor for the rudder. There's a motor up here. So this hole here scoops up water, pushes it through, and it has a little mini cooling thing on the motor, and then it shoots water out the side for that. So it comes with 2 batteries, and it has a battery charger, and this is just, it plugs into a USB-A socket battery charger. It also comes with a display stand, so if you're not using the boat, you can put it on the stand. It doesn't appear to be any particular orientation, so that'll just kind of hold the boat off of a table. And then it comes with a pistol grip, 2-channel. You have reverse, forward, and turning here. And there's there's a trim for the turn, and there's a thing that controls the light and the speed, and then on-off for the remote control. Alright, so the only really things you need to know from the battery precautions here is you should let the battery cool down after use before you charge it, and you should not leave it on the charger. So once it's done charging, you should take it off the charger. Everything else is pretty standard lithium-ion battery. Keep it away from flammable things, don't put it in fires, etc. So along with the battery charger, they include 1 extra propeller, and it has a bolt and a wrench installing said extra propeller if this one were to break. So the battery compartment on the remote control is held on by a Phillips screw, and that's probably what this screwdriver is for. Alright, so after you put batteries in the remote, it turns on and beeps and does a flash while it's waiting for the boat. It says you plug in the battery in the boat and the boat will automatically turn on. Also on the boat there's a demo button that's supposed to make it just do a figure 8 in the water, and an auto flip button. And the idea is if it's upside down, you push the auto flip button and somehow it rights itself. Alright, so the interior of the boat, it says here DC 7.4 lithium ion battery, and there's a little blocking plate here and here that's sized almost perfectly for this battery to fit like that, but that's not the right place to put it. First of all, it would hit this thing here a little bit, and also on this guy they have that thing that sticks down right into there, presumably to protect this thing from the battery hitting it. And so the only place I've found to put the battery is kind of sideways, kind of in here in front of the servo, but there's nothing that really grips it or holds it in place, and so you can see there's nothing in here other than that little guy. And so when you put this on and clamp it down, that battery just kind of rattles around in there. So it doesn't look like they have a great mechanism to retain the battery in place. It doesn't move a lot, it just rattles around in this general area. Right, all the battery connectors have a clear place to grab here for where this little notch goes, so it's pretty clear that you snap the notch in like that. This guy plugs into a 5-volt USB-A port. It draws about 1.5 amps So some USB-A ports might only do 1 amp, but most of your USB-A ports can do 1.5 amps. When it's done charging, it turns green. Let's go play with this guy. When you plug the battery in, it beeps, and we get flashy lights. Alright, despite what they said about it detecting water, as soon as I paired the receiver and the transmitter, I can control this guy, and that thing there can cut you. So you want to be careful just handing this to a kid. You probably want to put it in the water and then give them the controller. Alright, so you can turn the lights on and off with that button. This does the speed control, so that's 2 beeps, 3 beeps, 1 beep. That's the slowest speed. This guy here will flip in the water to flip it back upright. That does a demo. This is speed 1. Alright, we're going to go forward in speed 1. Alright, speed 1, the turning radius is pretty good. Perfectly controllable at speed 1, even with just a little bit of waves on the lake. Alright, let's go up to speed 2. Still pretty controllable. Pretty tight turning radius. I'll try speed 3. It looks like it's steering just slightly to the left. Let me try again here. Doesn't look like it needs much rudder trim. It looks like it's steering just slightly to the left, so I'm going to turn the rudder trim just slightly and see if that fixes it. Alright, I think I have the rudder trim dialed in pretty well. It's going pretty straight now. So the rudder trim works well. Uh-oh. Hit the weeds. Oh, we got a weed on the propeller. Oh, we escaped the weed. I'm going to bring it back and see. There might be fouling here. Got to be careful not to get near the weeds. We definitely have some weeds trapped here. Well, it came off, so it must have been hanging up or something there, but it came off when I lifted it out of the water. Alright, we got some more weeds, but we were able to pull it out of the weeds. It looks like it's mostly just catching on the rudder here, and so when I lift the rudder out, you know, it's not fouling the propeller itself. But you do want to avoid weeds. Right, I don't know if you can even see this. I put it out beyond the weeds, and I hit the demo button, and it's basically just doing a figure 8 out there in the middle of the lake. And it's just going to keep doing that, I think, until I give it some other control input. Okay, yeah, so I hit the throttle, now I can control it. So, plenty of range because it gets hard to see the farther out you get. So I can really only see it when I'm making waves behind it now. Okay, so we have never flipped this yet. I have thrown it in the water upside down. I'm going to hit the flip button and see what happens. So it looks like it's turning the motor back and forth, but the thing isn't working. I can see it rocking, but it hasn't really flipped it. I think the shaft and the propeller just don't have enough mass for that self-righting function to work. They also say if the battery is low, it won't work, but we've only been using it for like 5 or 10 minutes, so I don't think the battery's low. It feels like it's at full speed still. Alright, is that 3-speed? Okay, we are going to do a full speed attack on the beach. So let's go see if that damaged it. Alright, it's working just fine. Let me check steering. Yeah, it's working fine after running up on the beach once. These birds are taking an interest in our boat. Alright, we've been playing with this thing for about 18 or 19 minutes. Off and on, not continuous running, but kind of, you know, a lot of running. And it's still going, but it's definitely going a little slower. So the battery is going down. Alright, so here's a close-up of the demo pattern that it runs when you put it in demo mode. This battery is getting pretty low, so it's definitely slower than it was at the beginning here. I expect the transmitter will start beeping the low battery alarm at me at some point. I'm just running it till it goes all the way down. Okay, it started doing the beeping noise here. So we got the battery down enough that the controller is beeping. And it's pretty obvious because like the speed there, that's the full speed, but it is not going at all fast now. So it's pretty clear before the controller starts beeping at you that you're losing battery power. I mean, we're down at a lower voltage, it's just not going as fast as it was before. So clock time was 27 minutes, but that includes times to get it out of the weeds, and, you know, not running the motor. So I think active motor running time, 15 minutes at full speed, and then it's at a slower speed before the controller starts beeping at you. Now they do give you 2 batteries, so you can basically double that for, you know, time before you need to recharge something. Right now I just have a red flashing light. When it connects, it does a very insistent beep of the battery being low, so I think that's the lowest battery alarm. When I opened up the boat, I see no evidence of water intrusion, so it looks like that little black gasket seal around the edge there kept the water out pretty well. So the battery is definitely warm to the touch, and this is, you know, 10 or 15 minutes after I took it out of the water. So I'm going to let it sit for maybe half an hour before I start charging it up, and I will use a watt-hour timer to figure out exactly how many watt-hours it takes to charge this guy up. Battery claims to be 5.92 watt-hours on the nameplate here. Right, so this guy's been charging for a while. It was very initially at like 1.4 amps, but most of the time it's been at like 0.7, 0.8, 0.9 amps. So it looks like most of the charging time it's at less. The battery claims to be a 6 watt-hour battery, and it took 8 watt-hours to charge it up. So I think that the battery capacity here is legit.